Oh, hello there. Hi, good evening. Welcome to the politics of Kendra. I'm Kendra. So right now I'm lighting some Palo Santo. It is a type of tree that when you burn the bark, it smells just so pleasant. And it'll cleanse your aura and your environment. This Palo Santo is from Peru. I got it from a group called Luna Sundara. And I absolutely love Palo Santo. It's pretty quick burning and it's self-contained and it really does cleanse the energy field. I love the smell so much. There's been many a time when I've been at like a Dead and Company concert. Can't believe I said Dead and Company, not just Grateful Dead. There's been many a time where I've been at a Dead and Company concert and I will think of something that's just like, ooh, kind of like an overwhelming thought. And right at that split second when I was about to go to that like dark, kind of murky place of my mind, I'll get a whiff of Palo Santo in the crowd and I just get this like feeling that someone in the distance lit it when they had that murky thought, and it just kind of travels around, but it also cleanses at the same time. So as I had that murky thought, they lit it. Or maybe they just lit it, but it was the perfect timing for me to smell and cleanse the air. Today's video, I will be talking about following your intuition. So I've been listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks is a spiritual guidance gal who channels, her name is Esther, and she channels a group of entities that go by the name Abraham. And her stuff has been really, really, really positively impactful on my current experience. I'm super excited that I started listening to her stuff because I mean I've dabbled in I study a lot of healing, shamanic work, self-help work, law of attraction, manifestation. I study and read and I'm all about it. It gets me so drived up. So I finally started listening to her stuff and I feel very at home and I feel very grateful for her messages. So I was listening to her video today on YouTube, and the title is "Try This for 30 Days." I will link that video below. I'll also link my Palo Santo persona below. And she was talking about following her intuition and how like a series of small incremental events led to her meeting someone who had always wanted to meet her. And when she ran into them, she was like, "You had been calling me so loudly that I ended up like right in front of you." And the message was, it's those small steps that lead you to where you're going, and to trust your intuition. So in my own way, I will share an example on this. So today's topic, trusting your intuition. So I recently went up to the East Coast to perform in New York City. I'm a singer, songwriter, actress, writer, etc., and published author. And I went up to New York City to record at a record label called Least of All Records, as well as perform in Brooklyn, some spoken word shows, and some musical showcases. It was such a freaking good time. I love the hustle and bustle of the city. I also really like the fact that like, so I live in Los Angeles, so I'm in my car a lot. So that's awesome because I listen to music all the time and I freaking love my car. But being in New York City, like I started so many conversations and had so many conversations with people and like made friends more or less with people when we were waiting for the subway. There's just like a sense of community, and like I know that there's like that kind of thing of like people don't talk to each other near the subway, and especially with the day and the age of the phone, everybody's on their phone and nobody's talking. But guess what? I was on my phone and talking to people. So I like the sense of community that was there. Also, what else I liked about New York? Gosh, so much. I like the late night atmosphere. Like, so I play gigs, you know, so like the performances, I'm getting home. Well, I just got home from a gig tonight in Hollywood that went really well. I played for 2 hours. It was freaking awesome, and I had some, okay, cool, let me get to the meat of this. I had some friends come out to the show that I'm really grateful they were there. So, you know, okay, what I also love about New York is, you know, it's 12:18, I just got home from my gig. When I would get home from my gigs in New York City, there would still be like noodle restaurants open and stuff like that. I love it. There are in Hollywood too, I just love the city. Okay, so, following your intuition. Okay, so touching on the fact that I had a gig tonight in Hollywood. So I went to a show in August in Vail, Colorado. I grew up going to Vail, Colorado. It's so close to my heart. I went to this show because one of my favorite artists was playing, and I had grown up going there. So this venue is called the Gerald R. Ford Amphitheater. It's across the street from the place I grew up taking skiing and snowboarding lessons from. It's across the street from, and during the summertime I would go to summer camp there. Like literally grew up in this town. So then at that same venue I would see the Vail Symphony perform. Bum bum bum, do 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 do, orchestra, do 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 do, boom. So one of my favorite artists was performing at the Gerald R. Ford Amphitheater, and I was like, I gotta go. This is like a full circle, full encapsulation of existence for me. So I traveled to Colorado, and I'm also a part of it's an anonymous program that keeps each other accountable through the 12 steps. So I'm part of this program. I went to one of the meetings there, and you know, I raised my hand. Hi, my name is Kendra. I'm in town from Los Angeles to see the show. It's nice to meet you guys, blah, blah, blah. So after the meeting, someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, that's cool that you're going to that show. I might go too. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's so nice to meet you. Really like had a groovy time. So then I go to the show that next night, and I'm kind of like up in on the top left, and I'm just like in my mind and stuff like this. And then, you know, I was like being existential and being loomy and being like in my feelings and stuff like that. And it was really kind of like, you know, especially with the law of attraction, when you put something out there, that's what you're gonna get back. So not only was I having this feeling, it was also like snowballing into more of this feeling of like, yeah. Even though I was at like one of my favorite places, seeing one of my favorite people, right? So then during set break, I decided to walk down to get some water. And as I'm walking down to get some water, my friend who I'd met the night before was like, hey, Kendra. And I was like, oh my gosh, hey. So then I ended up hanging out with him for the rest of the show for the second set. And it was a complete flip in atmosphere, complete flip in my feeling. And it made for a memory that is so memorable. So tonight, my same friend that I met in Colorado, per chance, happens to just move to LA. So following my intuition to go to these meetings, following my intuition to walk down the stairs, I saw this friend, and now he's in LA. Getting back to New York. So another way that I followed my intuition that ended up being just like super great. I mean, there's so many different ways I've done it, but let's stick to this example I already mapped out to mention. New York City. I'm there for 3 days, and then I'm like, okay, it's time to fly home. So I'm flying out of JFK Airport, and I wake up rather early, you know, gotta check out of the hotel on time. I ate some breakfast, and then I was like, okay, my flight isn't till 5:45 p.m., and it's like 11 a.m., I could just, or it's like, no. My flight isn't until like 5:45 p.m. and it's like 10 a.m. Why don't I like walk around the town and stuff like that? The front desk can hold my luggage, and then I'll come back and then I'll take an Uber to the airport. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've got all my luggage and like, I've had a very eventful couple days. I will definitely be back to the city soon. I like it here quite a bit, and I envision myself like putting some real footsteps on this pavement. So why don't I head to the airport? I know I'm gonna be there like a long time, but I'll catch up on, I had just gotten a bunch of footage for my shows, so I'll catch up on like editing my footage, and I'll catch up on my emails, etc. It's the airport, you know, you love to travel. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll take the subway there. It'll be like, like $4, and I was like, well, hold on. I got my luggage, I got my guitar. And then I gotta go down the stairs, and then I gotta be on the subway, and like, it's a Saturday, so it's probably gonna be a pretty busy day on the subway. So then I'm gonna be like in the subway car with like my stuff, and people are gonna be like, hey, you're taking up a lot of space. And I'll be like, hey, I know. And then I'll get off the subway, but I'll also have to like transfer to a different one, to transfer to the other one, the L to the M to the K to the YMCA. And then I'll have to carry my luggage up the stairs. And I was like, you know what, I'll just get an Uber. So then I order the Uber. Turns out it was like a luxury Mercedes that came to pick me up. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. The universe did me a solid on that. So I felt really cool, heading to the airport, you know, like okay, anyway. So then I get there and I go to check in, and I'm like, okay, well, I know it's pretty early, but let me just go to the check-in place and at least like make sure my flight's on time. So I go and I type in my confirmation number to get my boarding pass. Then the boarding pass prints, and then I look at it, and it was like, oh, and then it was like the flight's at 2:33. I was looking at the ticket, I was like, oh man! So then I'm like, okay, well, the time difference, I wrote in my calendar 5:45, the time difference. So I'm like, ma'am, like, I booked this in California. Is the time difference accounting for the fact that this says that we leave at 2:33, but my flight's at 5:45? And she's like, no. Like, the cloud knows what time it is, regardless of where you are. I was like, oh, I'm really glad I followed my intuition to get in the Uber versus the subway versus walking around town versus like pandering around. And I'm glad I got here because my flight's leaving 3 hours earlier than I thought it was. And then later, as I like got to my gate and stuff like that, I sat down and looked at my calendar and realized I had looked at the time I was arriving versus the time I was departing. And as Hunter S. Thompson has said, or Hunter S. Thompson, a Hunter S. Thompson-esque character in Waking Life by Richard Linklater says, the key is to be in a constant state of departure while always arriving. Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Politics of Kendra.